These are just two great examples of many people that probably are around Delft working on very interesting projects. And the idea is to start connecting them with potential contributors also from different faculties, because I feel personally that there's a lot of nice things being done in separate faculties, but sometimes we could use more interdisciplinary, let's say, contributions or collaboration. For instance, Krishna is a designer, so Jerry was putting the example of Dave starting as a designer wanting to realize a vision, but sometimes they need support from engineers or people with different backgrounds. So I think it's good if they are working on open source to facilitate them through the community to find those new contributors. So I'm going to go back again to the slides. And yeah, whoops, this is the wrong slide, sorry. So the main motivation, just to share it again, is answering the question: how can we build together an open source driven community in Delft that develops impactful open hardware projects like the ones we just saw today, and that benefits at the same time students in the learning process, researchers in their activities, and professionals in industry, and the university as well. I think that is a good question to answer. So we want to share also how are we trying to do that, what are we trying to do, and there are some ongoing projects already that we started organizing. Airtable, which is just a collaboration tool. So I'm just going to give you an example. So these are some of the projects we started documenting. This is the centrifuge, this is the hard docs, which is for hard documentation, and in each of those you can find links to the documents that allow you to get into the project itself, you know. So I'm not going to go into the details of all the projects, but because the idea is that when you get into the contributing guidelines, or the chat, you can ask questions about, hey, I'm interested in this, what can I do about it, how can I contact the person, so on and so forth. So, but there are some nice, interesting projects going on, and we would love to get feedback from you guys later. We also wanted to share the goals. What are we trying to do, and yeah, what is the goal for 2019, which is almost ending? We want to get a proper welcome and onboarding process to the community. So we have made a form, and we have created some channels for people to contact and join us. We also want to grow the community basis for people that have already been working on projects, but they want to get new contributors. And at the same time, we want new people that might be interested in open source projects to join as well. We also want to consolidate work groups around themes. So for instance, there is a thing that I'm particularly very interested in, which is federated infrastructures, and what basically means is peer-to-peer infrastructure. So now when we work online, all the data is stored in central nodes, but there are infrastructures that allow to have a more federated infrastructure. So for instance, your computer might be part of the serving services. So if you've seen torrent, for instance, torrent works like your computer is a seeder, and then you can also share resources online, etc. And this also includes open data. So when we want to have open data standards, we can host services that can talk to each other in different servers around the world. So I'm interested in that because I think it's very sustainable, very important. We're also interested in open source for sustainability and circular economy, and we might talk about some examples of that. But I think what Jerry presented was already a good example of that. And we're also interested in open source business models, because people don't really get into open source because they say, oh yeah, this is not, there are no business models, this is not sustainable, and it's not true. There are lots of examples. Our economy is running on Linux at the moment, and people don't know about it. Android is built on top of the Linux kernel, and people just don't even heard about it. And we're also open to new suggestions or themes of work groups, right? So you're welcome to suggest new work groups as well if you really want to lead a work group. We want to find a place to build stuff. We have an open hardware plasma cutter that could benefit many workshops in the campus, but we haven't found yet a partner that allows us to build it. It's cheaper and it's open source and it's very robust. I built already one in Cuba, so we're already testing it there in Cuba. And there is one built in Maine in the US, which was the original starter of the project. We also want to provide mentorship and guidance for people that want to really learn how to run communities of open source, because it's a challenge. So I think it's great to share and pass on the experiences that have worked already. And I think for those that have been working already in open hardware projects or open source projects in general, you only get the experience by working and engaging in those projects, and then you can share those experiences. We also, we have the philosophy of why to do it. I think Jerry already explained why it's important to do it, and how to do it. I think the best way to do it is to just work on real projects and get that experience from real projects, right? I wanted to also introduce you to some basic, let's say, channels and resources so that you can get involved if you're interested. So we have, I made a website for the community. So here you can find basically everything if you're interested, what we are about, how to get involved. So here are some contribution guidelines, how you can contribute if you're interested. And how to join also. This would be great. So the link is in the slides, but it's basically delftopenhardware.nl. So if you go to delftopenhardware.nl, you can find all this online. And we want to also get some data about those members that want to join, because the thing is that there are people that are studying mechanical engineering or software engineering or computer science, and some people might need a computer scientist or might need a software developer, and a way to do it is to have an online database that we can share and people can find each other. So that's why we're doing the forum. We also want people to get to know each other, their backgrounds and stuff, because I think it's great that happens. So this is pretty much the way we have set up for people to join. There is a form which really will help to get in contact with you, because that way we can also invite you to our GitLab repositories. So I'm going to show you quickly GitLab here. So GitLab is where the actual repositories are. So this will allow us to start opening feature requests and learning, really getting to the core of open source development. But that is something we're going to leave out for this first kickoff, and it's something we're going to talk about in lunch break meetings. So, all right, so next thing. The other thing is, this is the time for discussion and feedback. So if you have questions and if you want to exchange or you want to see some examples, please ask, because most of the time that we have saved for this event has been to get to know each other and talk about what you think about this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering how can you promote a project that's in such a infantile stage, such as the plastic extruder, and still be able to promote it?
Yeah, the thing is that they went beyond that. They don't have that extruder anymore. So I think Jerry can explain it actually.
Yeah. So for this, I think it's important to critically look at how do I convey my message. Maybe not go into detail on exactly what you did and what you think should be the next step, but to give a bit more of a future timeline, what could be possible, to create, to have room for people to have their own contribution in it and their own creativity. And sometimes you can share something which is not perfect yet, and but still try to make it simple for people. Like, hey, if I have a small bit of this Arduino code, then it could make it better. So if you have small bites, small chunks that people can help, they're more willing to help out and grow from there. Whether if you say, I just want a new extruder, then people say, well, good luck, go figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
So small steps, and show the potential it can have. So not only the extruder itself, but what the problem is, what you're trying to solve, and how it could be solved, and not how it should be solved.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about the example of the centrifuge.